Hey everybody, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. And no, this video is not a review of the movie Apocalypse Now, although it is a great movie. It's a great war movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it. If you haven't seen it in a while, go see it again. If you're from the younger generation and you like the genre of war movies, definitely check it out. Great characters. One of my all-time favorite war movies out there, so check it out. But what this video is about is 3 apocalyptic scenarios that are coming up. One's definitely going to happen in the next 24 hours. The other 2, probably shortly. There's definitely a possibility they'll happen, so that's why we need to keep our eye on them and see what's going on. So what are these 3 scenarios? One of them is, well, you probably already thought about it, Hurricane Idalia. Definitely need to talk about that. That's going to happen. It's probably going to happen within the next 12 or 18 hours. The next one is North Korea just came out today and said that they would like to give nuclear weapons to their Navy. Definitely not a good thing, so we're going to talk about that. And lastly, it's not, wouldn't be the beginning of the week if we didn't talk about Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy chairman of the Russian Security Council, and how, he usually gives a early in the week apocalyptic message through his Telegram and Twitter. So we're going to check out what he says, because although he says a lot, one day, we're getting closer to what he says actually happening. So let's start checking these out. And as we do, please like, comment, and share on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet, and if you have or haven't, ring that bell so you get notified when the new videos come out. But here we go. We got wrap up preparations for Hurricane Idalia as it barrels towards Florida. What I'm not going to go through in this video is what to do, how to prepare, what you should do. I did that for Hillary in a video about a week ago when Hillary was coming to the West Coast. So I'll put up a little card here. Also in the description below, I'll put a link to that video. So if you're in the path of Idalia, also a lot of states in the southeast, if you're in that area, and you just want to refresh your memory of what you should prep for, what you should do, check it out, watch that video, because the suggestions in there apply to a lot of situations are going to hit you guys here soon. So check that out. What I want to go through here is just some of the data about when it's going to hit landfall, and just make sure you guys thought about, hey, we got to either, if we're staying, we got to make sure we're ready, or maybe we should get out because it's not worth it to stay. Well, let's get the most current information here. Let's see, as we can see here, I just refreshed this and started. So it looks like Wednesday morning, it's going to come landfall, maybe between, Pensacola and the Naples area of Florida. That's a kind of a big area, but it's going to be a major hurricane, probably Category 3 when it hits. It's going to work its way through Georgia, South Carolina, a little almost into North Carolina, then go out to sea. But it's just not the hurricane. This thing's going to spawn a lot of water for flooding, and it could spawn tornadoes. So anybody over here, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, could be tornadoes. So you got to be prepared for that. So don't just take your eyes off the ball because you're not in the path of the hurricane, which probably most of you in that area are used to, and you're probably ready, but just not in case, check out the video. Well, let's go here what it says. It says it's a Category 1 right now, could hit a 3. From the National Weather Service in Tampa, 8 to 12 foot storm surge, 4 to 7 feet in the Tampa area, 4 to 8 inches of rain, and several tornadoes could be spawned is a possibility. Then let's go down to this. This is the storm surge in the area. Check out where you're at. This is 8 to 12, 6 to 9, 4 to 7. Yellow's a little less. You can see the chart up above here if you want to pause the video and check out your area so you can see what the storm surge might be. And then we have rainfall totals, 6 to 12 inches expected in a lot of areas. Most of this is the 6 to 10 area, the orange. But if all that falls in a short time, you're going to see some flooding, so prepare for your flooding. These are tropical force wind speeds and the probabilities, 90% chance in the purple, 80 in the red, so a lot of wind across Florida, as you can see. It's going to take out most of that. So make sure you're ready for that. You're prepared and everything. Like I said, watch the video, and make sure, your life is more important than your stuff. So if if it's near you and you're, hesitant what to do, maybe you need to leave. Make sure you got that bug out bag and you're ready to go. And whether you're ready to go or to stay, make sure you, like I said, you have essentials. You have food, water, way to filter water, because when flooding happens, all the water is contaminated. You have a way to start a fire because you're going to need to stay warm. Something for self-defense, if you need to protect yourself. Get all that ready and good to go, because you have about 12 hours left. And as we know, a lot of these times they strike at night, so make sure you have your lighting source ready to go. So everybody in the wake of this, in the area of this, prayers out to you guys. hang tough and just make sure you're prepared and ready to go and have your bug out plan, or have already left and you've gone to your secondary location and you're going to ride it out and be safe. Now let's switch over here to Kim Jong-un. Says his Navy is soon to be equipped with nuclear weapons. This is a pretty big deal. We know they've fired sub-based ballistic missiles. So are they going to put nuclear-tipped warheads on those? That's what it sounds like. So what's this mean? Are they going to be able to float ships or subs towards the west coast of the United States? That way it puts all U.S. in range, harder to detect. When the launch goes off, harder to defend because there won't be enough time. Could be a big deal, and it's a big escalation. They're probably getting a lot of help from China and Russia on this as it goes through. Let's go through this a little bit more and I have a few more comments. So it says North Korea says it's giving its Navy nuclear deterrent capabilities. The Navy is going to have an expanded use of tactical nuclear weapons. Here he is inspecting the troops. And a quote from the Korean news agency. From now on, KPA, I think that stands for Korea's People's Army. I think that's what it stands for. Anyway, the Navy will become a part of the National Nuclear Deterrent Force tasked with strategic missions. And it goes on to say they are on full readiness for war. You got the U.S. and Korea doing the 11-day exercise. You got the U.S. nuclear sub parked in South Korea. North Korea is very unhappy about that. I'm sure China's not so happy about that as well. And then he also specified that all armed branches will soon receive, this is quotes, receive new equipment in accordance with the policy of expanded use of tactical nuclear weapons. Like I said, I think a lot of this new equipment technology comes from China and Russia helping them out so they can build it. I don't think there'd be any other way that North Korea has the means to do that, but they're going to have it, and they're going to be like the workforce for China and Russia. They might be the one to launch the missiles instead of China or Russia. So we got to keep an eye on them. If North Korean subs, if they start going to the Pacific and start getting close to the west coast of the United States, does the U.S. do a preemptive strike on them? Do they let them get close? Do they blockade them? We had that Chinese balloon incident where they just let it fly over. I don't know if they would or not, but something to look out for because, if they're going to expand their reach, if it kicks off one day, yeah, we're definitely going to be hitting that apocalypse. So that's the newest story there with them and that apocalyptic scenario. And let's go to the last story. Like I said, Dmitry Medvedev always has a lot to say, always has a lot of threats. I'm in the camp that I think one day one of these threats is going to come true. It's going to happen. So let's see what he said. This came out on his Twitter. I don't know if he translated it or someone else, but it's in English. But it's also on his Telegram in Russian. And it says, basically it says, Ukrainian criminals have announced that any strikes of theirs against whatever Russian target they want, he said, for example, Crimea, were approved by NATO. So he's claiming that Ukraine says that NATO has approved all their targets, even into Crimea. He says if this is true, and he said there's no reason to doubt it, then he said it is a directly significant proof of the West's complicity. So he's saying the West, and he means NATO, is complicit. And he's basically talking to the UK, Europe, and United States. So he's saying that they are complicit in the war against Russia. And then he says that gives them just cause. He goes into Latin. He says that he calls it the casus belli and the jus ad bellum framework. He's basically saying that gives Russia just cause to attack each and every NATO country. Basically, right here, each and every NATO country, saying, hey, if we go out, because of NATO helping Ukraine target us, we have the justification to target every NATO country. Which I can see them happening. I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to happen. Anyway, he continues. He says the apocalypse revelations are drawing nearer. So he's referenced the Bible here. And in fact, he goes and he quotes Revelations 9:6. And I'll quote it here. He says, and in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. So he is, that's Dmitry Medvedev, threatening, nuclear war, threatening attacks. It's common for him, but one day, there's going to be enough lines crossed by the NATO and Ukraine that I think they're going to, do what they say, follow through with it, and do something deadly. So those are the three scenarios I have. Like I said, the one definitely going to happen is the hurricane. Make sure you're taking care of it and you're ready to go for that. North Korea is always a wild card. Kim Jong-un is a wild card. You don't know what he'll do, what'll set him off, and he might be just crazy enough to be prodded by China enough to push that button on this nuke and send him. Maybe he'll be on a sub or a ship this time, where there won't be enough time for the U.S. to react. And and by the way, United States, they said on October 4th we're gonna do that national alert. Kind of interesting that they just said, hey, we're gonna do this national alert on TV, radio, and your cell phones. It's just a test, no big deal. But a couple days after they announced that, we see North Korea says, oh, we're gonna put nukes on boats. So people say not, there's no such thing as a coincidence. Some are, but some aren't as well. And this might not be really a coincidence. I just know the United States government is not really telling the people to get ready, build shelters, stock up. Other countries are. The U.S. isn't. That's why, there's channels like myself and other prep channels that are trying to tell you guys to get out there and get ready. So that's all I have for you. Hopefully you got something out of this. Once again, our prayers for everybody in Florida and the southeast of the United States, getting ready for this hurricane to go through there. And, hopefully all the precautions have been taken. You can get through it as best as you can. And we'll see how it goes afterwards, what the damage is. And by the way, speaking of this, they always talk about FEMA and the support from FEMA. I was just thinking, how many disasters could the U.S. handle at once? If there's a major hurricane in the south, let's say there's an earthquake in California out there, there's flooding or tornadoes in the Midwest. If all 3 or 4 of those happened at once, could this government support all that? Could they come out and help all those people? I don't think so. There's not enough resources. They're not laid out to do that much. They're not big enough to support 3 or 4 huge natural disasters. So that's why you've got to take care of yourself. And hopefully videos like this, instances of these natural disasters happening, help push you to keep going, help you send this to your friends and family to get them on the bandwagon so they're ready for anything to happen, whether it be natural disasters or world apocalypse from there. So like I said, that's all I have. Hopefully you got something out of this. Until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.